Hey everyone, and welcome to today's live stream. I am James with Korg. Nice to have you here once again. Thank you for joining us from all around the world. Great to see you all joining us for these great things. I am going to be kicking off a new series today. We're going to be doing something a little different than we've been doing. We're going to be starting our Summer Jam series, and today we're going to be doing a Logue Jam. That's right. So a lot of gear. The idea here with the jams is to put a lot of pieces of Korg gear together, use them in conjunction with each other, and that's what we're going to be doing here today. I got a couple of pre-planned things here. There's going to be a little impromptu going on. Definitely ask your questions. Well, that's the first question right there from Leo Lancaster. Yes, I'm happy to answer that. So the difference between these three synthesizers is basically it comes down to a polyphony, effects, and sequencing capabilities. Okay, so if we start up here with the Monologue is a monophonic analog synthesizer. It has a 16-step sequencer that's for notes and for motion sequencing. Some of its unique characteristics are having a dedicated drive circuit, having a really, really aggressive and kind of biting filter that's really good for aggressive bass lines, leads, and as you'll see a little later on, even percussive stuff. Moving into the Minilogue XD, the Minilogue XD is the next step in the Minilogue evolution. Of course, Minilogue started this all, and it was a ground up, basically, not like any other synthesizer signal path. And what we've done is we've incorporated that into the Minilogue XD as well. And then what the Minilogue XD provides on top of the original Minilogue is a three multi-effects processors. So you have a modulation, a reverb, and a delay with multiple types on board. We have a 16-step sequencer as well, as opposed to the Minilogue 16 that shows you 8 steps at a time. And we have, of course, the multi-engine. The multi-engine being a digital oscillator that combines with the two analog oscillators, and it's also an open source modulator, so it's oscillator. So you could add your own digital oscillator to this. In addition, you could do that with the NTS1, which is the new tech, and you could do it with the Prologue. So here is another multi-engine based product. Here again, 2 analog oscillators. The signal path is akin to the Minilogue, has the multi-engine in it as well. This has 2 effects processors. Where this one excels is in polyphony. So there are 2 different Prologues available. The first one is the Prologue 8, and that's 8 notes of polyphony. And then the Prologue with the 61 keys is 16 notes of polyphony. So a lot of nice analog polyphony there. Yes, there will be effects used during the jam, quite a lot of them. I actually like using effects very much for just playing around in final production. In addition to the effects that are coming out of the synthesizers themselves, we're also going to be playing around a little bit with this nice little KP3 Plus. I like to incorporate an external effects processor into the work so that you could see how these things can be affected, how they play nicely together. Also a little bit of house cleaning before we go, just to give you an idea of what we have going on here and how things are set up. We have the KP3 Plus actually running the clock. So we're going MIDI out of the KP3 Plus into the Prologue. And then from there, everything is audio sync. So audio sync out to in, audio sync out to in, and then out into the Volca sample, and then out into the Volca beats, which I'll be using for a little bit of backbeat and transition. So we'll have some effects coming from the synthesizers. We'll have some effects coming from the KP3. The beats are going to be all coming from the Volca sample and the Volca beats. And with that, we can begin with a little bit of jamming. So let's go. Keep those questions coming. I'm checking out the screen. If I'm in the middle of like this kind of musical inspiration thing, don't worry. I will jump to your question. Absolutely. So. Got the sequencer of the Minilogue XD taking care of that for us. I got it at halftime or quarter time so that it can run a little longer. Here comes the bass. All right, so let's shut the effects off. Oh, that's cool. Yeah. I should have added some vocals to this. All right, so let's explain a little bit about what was going on in that first jam. And actually, Zach, torn between the XD or the prologue. Thoughts, anyone? Well, if I could jump in on that for just a second there, I'd be happy to. So here's what you could really think of. So first of all, the question comes down to two things. Do you want more polyphony for like bigger, fatter chords and stuff like that? Or are you looking for something that's a little bit more like, sequenceable, modulated? Not to say that you can't sequence the prologue with something very simple like an SQ1. You could jump that right in and do that as well. I think it comes down to the amount of polyphony that you're looking for in the analog world, plus the digital. If you're cool, I mean, to me, the keys, are cool either way, whether they're big or small. Some people prefer the small keys. Sometimes if you're starting out with keyboard, it's a lot easier to form chords when the keys are just slightly smaller. And then this is the full name is on the Chronos. So it's really it's that really it's between that. I mean, obviously there's a different cost factor in there, but you want to get what's going to work for you ultimately. And the good thing about the choice that you make regardless is that they both have that same kind of unique minilogue signal path, and they both also feature that multi-engine. And combining the analog with the digital to make this sort of a hybrid synthesizer really gives it these really unique timbres that you can't get with any other kind of synthesizer out there. Plus, with the multi-engine, you can add your own oscillators in there. And hey, like you can even use the SDK if you're good at coding and create your own oscillators. So it's all open source. All of our oscillators, or most of our oscillators rather, have come from musicians and producers and users just like you, who have decided to produce those oscillators. The sequencer I'm using, sorry if I mentioned that already. Oh, no problem at all. Because the thing is that there's no master sequencer here. And this is why I love this. Okay, so the thing is, we have the sequencer of the minilogue XD, which is running itself right now. So what I've done is I've programmed that already with a couple of chord structures that I'm basing the rest of my performance around. Here, I'm using in the monologue, I'm using the sequencer in a much different way. what I'm doing is I've created a sequence, and I'll show you how it sounds. Really simple, 2-note sequence. But with the key hold and trigger here, you can basically turn it into an arpeggiator, and it also follows the notes that you play. So that progression that I did, which was, rather pentatonic, so that can work in any key, regardless of whether I'm playing a major or a minor, will basically play along with me. So if I'm playing the E, it'll give it to me in E, F sharp. And of course, I still have full control over the panel. And I could even sequence some of that in if I want to. So with the motion sequencer, I can press record and grab one of those knobs and record that into the sequence. Actually, once it's out of here, you can do that. Okay, now when I put it back into here. This thing pretty much excels at acid bass lines, Zach. So check this out. We're gonna just start fresh with a fresh program here. Okay, I'm gonna bring this down. I'm gonna do some stuff on the fly for you here. So first of all, I'm gonna get that. And the way I'm incorporating the effects there, now you guys can't see it, but I'm actually using one other piece of Korg gear in this setup, and that is the MW1608, which is our new mixer, shipping shortly. That's a 16-channel mixer. I'm not using any of the effects on that, but I am using the effects send. So, while it has these 10 effects that you can use, including things like compression and, all these Korg effects, 32-bit effects, I'm basically just using it as kind of a mixer for everything that's going on here. And then I'm running the KP3 into the send and return. So how I'm incorporating that into everything that we're doing is I got a little bit of a send on each one of my channels for the keyboards, and I'm deciding what gets what. And in this particular case, if I wanted to add, since I'm playing bass right now, I could just go in with the KP3 and I could pepper in a little bit of beautiful effect onto that bass, which is always very tasteful. And of course, the KP3 is interesting because you can control the effects in real time. Or if you're busy with other stuff, you can also record that motion. So check this out. Now my hands are free to do other stuff. Yeah, the effects on the XD are amazing. They're also on the NewTek NTS1, by the way. So I wanted to mention one other product that's not in the mix right here, but does have a sort of a cousin to the analog stuff, is the NTS1, which is amazing because it's this great little synthesizer and effects processor. So you can see here, it's got the same mod delay and reverb as the Minilogue XD, in addition to being a excellent multi-engine based synthesizer. But yeah, let's get into some of those effects because these effects are incredible. You're right. They need more attention. So let's start with a basic sound like this. Oh, there's a nice little. And now let's get into the effects. So first of all, modulation. Here's the ensemble, which is a Poly 6 ensemble. Love that. Phaser, flanger, regular chorus. I like the chorus. Just adds a little something something. And then, of course, the delays. You got a monophonic ping pong, high pass tape, one tap, and stereo. Sure. And then there's that reverb. So there's a smooth reverb. But then it goes a lot deeper. Arena. And then you get into some of the weirder stuff. Early reflections. And then we get into the stuff that has pitching built into the reverb as well. So this is one is called, this is Space. This one's called Riser, so you'll hear a pitch effect that goes above. And then you have Submarine, which is the opposite. That actually is an octave below. And it kind of introduces itself in. These are very unique effects, by the way. You know, just for synthesizers in general, it's like Korg does a really good job of synthesizers, but they also do an incredible job at effects. I'm just having a good time. All right. I'm going to move on to the next jam here. It's a little something else I've prepared. So again, I'm going to give you a little bit of an insight as to what's going on here. No tricks, no gimmicks. Just straight music all day long. Which Volca is sitting behind the sample? That is a Volca Beats behind my little Imperial pilot here. That's a Volca Beats. So what I'm doing with the Volca Beats, I'm not actually going to be changing the patterns on it, but I do like it for, of course, it's a great drum machine for being out front. It has a very unique sound. I'm using it for sort of like undertones, like sub percussion. Because it really does blend nicely with like just basically everything right now that I've set up for today, no matter what tempo I'm at. Stay there. Okay. See, I'm changing the tempo on the KB3 and it's changing the whole thing. That's because it's running the MIDI into the prologue, and then the prologue's got the first set of audio sync in and out. So analog sync out into here, audio sync out into here, audio sync out into here and here. And then from there, you're using one MIDI cable to basically clock everything all together. So no matter what sequence I run here, or what arpeggiator, or what drum beat, it's all going to be in complete lockstep. And that's what's beautiful about this. You know, we create this kind of like environment that makes things very easy to play together. I want to play a little bit more with this minilogue XT sound. Really resonant sound, using the multi-engine quite a bit here. Just gives it that nice metallic sound. How do I get a good loud sound for the vocal beats? I mean, I run it through a mixer. The vocal beats has been known to have a slightly lower dB level out on the output. First of all, you can address that with just making sure that all the levels are where they need to be on an individual basis on all the timbres. And then, yeah, so if you're using something like a vocal bass with other things, or vocal beat with other things, which you probably are, with other synthesizers for basses and things like that. Just I use a Vocamix when I'm doing a lot of that stuff, and that could help me raise up the volume of of one vocal versus the other. In this particular case, I am using a mixer as well, and I've got the gain stage a little bit higher. Single songwriter, are you using a mixer for all of those outputs on each device you're using? Yes, I am. I'm going to actually, you can't see it that big because I can't really pull all my cameras around, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this face cam, I'm going to point it down here, and I'm going to show you what I'm using. So I've got this, this guy. Let me see if I can see that. That is a MW1608. That is a Korg SoundLink mixer. It's excellent for mixing multiple keyboards. I can't begin to tell you how awesome this thing is. I use it for my rig here, as you can see. And I'm going to continue to use it forever. So it's also running the live stream right now. So I've got that all summed down and obviously going into the computer that I'm talking to you through. What we got here is we got this great mixer, 16 channels. It's a analog front end and a digital back end. So it's helped designed in part by Greg Mackey and Peter Watts, and then the Korg side, and they produced it. The Korg side is for the effects. So I know that's a little crazy because you don't usually move a camera around when you're doing these kinds of things, and I can't even see if I positioned it back right again. But yeah, that's the beauty of this, is that you can have a great mixer with great Korg effects and everything else. So hear a vague industrial rock sound demo with this gear. Ooh, yeah, Zach, I like your questions, man. I'm feeling like a little VMV Nation kind of a thing. I could probably try to throw that together. Hold on a second. But yeah, I'm using a SoundLink Korg MW1608. There's also a 24-channel version if you have a lot of keyboards. It helps a lot. So we want to hear some industrial. Okay, not my strongest suit, but I will do my best for you, sir. I think I'm going to throw like a really, really nasty backbeat down, and I'm going to use the Volca. I keep saying Volca, the Monologue, because as I mentioned before, it also does some really, really cool percussive tricks. So I've got something kind of in the can here. I'm going to use a faster beat, of course, because we want to get industrial. And industrial, it can go a couple different ways with industrial. But and let's just see if I got something in the can here. That's yeah, that could work. I'm going to erase this sequence. So sequence edit. And then we're going to just erase that, all clear, write that. And then I'm just going to go with step sequence here. I'm going to kind of do like a like a top of bass line. So exit out of here and let's do, okay. I hope that was good. So you see, I'm using I did something there that was interesting with the prologue. You can do splits, layers, and crossfades. So it's bitimbral in the sense that you can have two completely different synthesizers happening at the same time, two completely different sounds. In this particular case, what I've done is I've created this sort of pretty thing up top, and that's got its fair share of multi-engine in it. That gives it that nice metallic sound. I got this bass here. And you can set the split point, of course, and everything like that. But it's really a testament to the power of what you can do with a lot of polyphony, even in the analog world. And this is what Prologue really excels at. With the 8, you could do the same thing. With the 16, obviously, you're dealing with twice the polyphony, so you can have a little bit more capability there. But you also have additional controls on the panel instead of just menus that you can go and just basically say, I want to split a crossfade or a layer, and then you can choose what parts you're editing. And that's what I've got going on here. And that was actually going to be my next song. And I'm going to show you a little bit of that. Here again, I'm doing a couple of solos on the minilogue, which is awesome and fine. I'm also doing it only because I've got two hands, making it run itself with a lot of chord progressions, and that works really well. The other thing that I'm pointing out is that, I'm just going to stop for a second. Zach's asking a lot of good questions today. So I appreciate that, Zach. Thank you for being so awesomely, engaged in this, and I'm happy to answer your questions. So yes, it could be used strictly as an effects processor. The basic version of that is you can pick what you want. You do have full effects control. You don't have to go all crazy with the up, down, X, Y, left, right, BA start thing. You could just set it and forget it. And you do have things like control over the amount of effects. This will run through a wet, dry, or direct. There is a microphone input as well. Right now, I'm just using it with a kind of a pulsing reverb. You can just change that. There's hundreds of different presets to play with, even vocoders. You can just do some long reverbs there if you want to, kind of like sample reverbs with delay. Here's some modulation. Yeah, I mean, definitely can do a lot of stuff here. It's even got drums. You can even record yourself with it. But right now, I'm just going to use that for, could do a little delay maybe. So I'm going to flip this around here because I don't have a delay preset, but there's one. That's kind of cool. You got a little ping pong delay there. And a lot of people have used this in very creative ways for vocals. The names I like to drop for this are Tom York used it on Everything in Its Right Place. Beardy Man, who is a noted beatboxer, sound maker, uses the KP3 for effects and also for looping. You can loop with it. It's also a sampler. So it does a lot of really crazy cool tricks. And in a setup like this, or with a bunch of Volcas, or even in a guitar rig, the great thing about the KP3 is that it's just so flexible that way. And because it works both as a direct and also a traditional send and receive type thing, it just can find itself in so many different applications. And that's why I chose to incorporate this. If you checked any of my other live streams out lately, I've been working a lot with the NTS1 as an effects processor as well, especially through the Volca mix. Also awesome. This one I wanted to break out because, this is like the big daddy, and we've been selling the KP3 for quite a long time in one way or another, and over 10 years now, I think. And it's just such a great product for these kinds of things. And, if you want to have custom control over your effects and you want to be able to sort of perform with your effects like I'm doing here, there's nothing on the market that's really going to let you do that outside of the KP3 Plus. So, yeah, I mean, definitely check it out. And I am going to go into my next kind of jam here, which I sort of already intimated to. I'm going to take my tempo down here, and I'm going to go into my 6th. Nope. That's not the one I want. That's the one I want. From the prologue demos I've heard, distinctive but very rich and warm sound, great for soundscapes and pads. Oh, let me tell you. So the sound that I created this next thing from is one of my faves, and it's not okay. I'm not gonna. I wrote the sound. It was like it was put in here, but that's exactly what I was going for. When we were voicing the prologue, I wanted to make sure that I was totally just hitting on all cylinders with it. So I created this really, really multi-layered sound using all three oscillators, using the effects, and I call it Huge Score. And this is what it sounds like. To your point, it's just a huge, huge sounding synth. And there are more. This one's meant to sound like a Poly 800. And as you scroll around, you can tell. I mean, there's just so much beautiful timbre. I'm just picking random sounds. I don't know what's going to come up. Oh, Holy Poly 6. With 16 voices. You know what also makes it really cool? On the one feature, many features I haven't mentioned, but one I should mention right now is the low frequency compression, and that's really important. It is a true VU compression. I'm going to put this down here so you can kind of see it, and bear with me because I am doing this all on the fly. Like I said, it is a jam, so a Logue jam, which is moderately corny, but so here's a low frequency compressor, and you know you can basically hear the sound, which already sounds great. And again, this is a true analog low frequency compressor. Why a low frequency compressor? Well, because you know some compressors can ultimately end up squashing the entire frequency range, and you know sometimes we don't want that. So you have a high pass on this where the high frequencies are not affected by the compressor, but the low frequencies get nice and juicy. So you know here's the sound. Turn this on. You can see the VU meter doing its job. And then as you turn it up slightly, you're starting to hear a little bit of that tube saturation. So yeah, keep that right right here. You guys don't need to see me. You need to see the synths. So there we go. Yeah. Okay. So where was we? Let's go back to some of the pre-programmed stuff here. Cool. Okay, next jam. Using the Monologue as a percussion synthesizer. So we're using the motion sequencer, which has a choice between smooth and step. And when you put it on step, you're obviously going to get very stepped changes in the motions between the 16 steps. So here what I've done is a little drum beat, which is... And that'll be complemented nicely by what's coming out of the Volta sample. Let's get to our chord structure here on the XD. A little arpeggiation going on here in the sequencer. Little reverb coming from the KP3. I'm going to keep that on. So. Split on the prologue, bass, and keys. Oops, hit something there. Works. Just turning up the effect there on the KP3. So there you go. So we've got some we got some really cool chill waves going on right now. Yeah, I did lean a little bit more to like the kind of classic side. You're absolutely right. That was the style that I was just choosing to write in here. We could definitely do a little bit more modern in our next live stream, so I could get that a little bit more prepared for you. Sure, absolutely, 100%. We hear you. We love to cover all genres, and it's cool. We are here at the first ever Log Jam, part of our Summer Jam series. And we've been here with, 3 fantastic keyboard synthesizers. We've got the Prologue 16. We've got the minilogue XD. We have the Monologue. We have also on the table here, or the stand rather, we have the KP3 Plus, which we've been using for effects. We have the Volca sample, which we've been using predominantly for our drums. And of course, for backbeat, we have the Volca beats as well. You've been listening to some different jams that we've been breaking down for you over the last hour or so. And, I really do appreciate your questions there. It's been fantastic to be able to answer those for you. That's what we want to do. So it's really cool that we can connect this way. I'm going to throw one more thing down, and then I'm going to sign out. So we're going to just go completely random here and see what we can do with no preparation whatsoever. So let's see if we can change a couple of samples here. See what we got going on here. Okay, let's do that. So I cleared out the pattern here. Step sequence. Just get the 4 on the floor going. Once again, thank you very much for joining us today. We will see you very soon. Thank you for joining the live stream. I am James with Korg. It's been my pleasure to jam with you today and to show you these great products. Thank you for all of the questions once again. We will see you again soon. And thank you. And stay safe out there. Stay safe. Stay well. Enjoy that 4th of July weekend. You know, have a blast. Be cool. And we'll see you again here soon.